What do you say live from Raiders headquarters? How about this today? Yes. How we There we go. We are back. My computer actually shut down and started up again. How about that? Another day, another Raider game. Big D, we should not be frozen. We should be great. Everybody up? Can everybody hear me? Who's going to be the first guy? Good to go. Thank you. We're ready to go. Got a good show today. Alex Eshelman, our Raiders insider. Jeff Sherman, our handicapper. Levi Edwards, live from studio. Or 70 locations on our website, TonyTool.com, or staff members. How's everybody doing today? How about that Monday night football game? The Bills have lost 2 in a row now. The Bills have lost 2 in a row, and the Eagles have lost 2 in a row. And the Bears won 3 in a row, man. If we would have Raider Nation, if we would have beat the Bears, man, that would have been good. No excuses. I just interviewed Pete Carroll, just had Pete in this studio. Pete was right there. He just left. Anything you want in the chat, put it out there. We'd appreciate it. Let's get the tweet out. Hey, my Travis Kelce tweet's got 1 million views. 1 million views. Great prizes. And also subscribe, please, on YouTube and on X. I'd appreciate that. Headquarters. Yes, we are live. We got the mic unmuted. We are ready to roll. Subscribe, please, on YouTube and on X. X is JT the Brick. YouTube is JT the Brick YT. And you get an opportunity right now to come into Raiders headquarters where Pete Carroll just sat down with me for a good long interview. I think we're a little bit longer than 10 minutes, I think. It felt a little longer than that. And we had a good time. And we talked about the issues that you want to talk about. Hopefully getting Geno to throw deeper again. How does Geno get the long ball going? Because the Raiders didn't attempt a pass of over 20 yards. Let that sink in. The Raiders did not attempt a pass over 20 yards. So not an incomplete pass, attempted a pass. So with all that being said, you're not going to beat Kansas City without the deep ball, period. Period. You're not going to beat Kansas City without the deep ball. I'm not saying you have to connect on every deep ball, but you better throw it. You better throw it, and you better throw it not so much often, but you got to have the deep ball We got two guys who run a 4-3 on the outside. Dante Thornton, who was pretty much non-existent in the game, and Trey Tucker, who I think is having a pretty good year for Trey Tucker. He's our deep threat, and he didn't really do much in that game other than a short pass that he took it for more than 20 yards there. Ashton Jeanty in the passing game and the running game, I think is really good. I really do. I think he's a good player for obvious reasons. He's got to be a star in this game. And to preview a little bit of what I talked about with Pete Carroll, one of the things that we wanted to get into, me and the team here that I work with at the Raiders, is to talk about the rivalry with Kansas City. He wanted nothing to do with that in the way that you think. Pete Carroll basically told me, he didn't scold me, but he told me he learned a long time ago, it's not about him versus the other coach. He's done that with Jim Harbaugh at USC and Stanford, obviously San Francisco 49ers and the Seahawks. But this is the first game. This is the first game where he'll come out of the tunnel at Arrowhead wearing the silver and black. And I thought that was a pretty big deal. He completely downplayed it. He wants to win the game and not make it about himself. He's coached against Andy Reid. He gave Andy Reid a lot of credit here, but he didn't want to make it about him. And that's the focus of the monologue, brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They fuel the monologue with PTs, all the Raider activations that they have, raiding the taverns, over 70 locations in the Valley. If you want to get into it, head on out to a PT's, 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. So I've been in the building here for 3 hours today before the start of the show. And let me just tell you what the big takeaway is for me. This is how I feel. My show, my name on it. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm just telling you what I think. This is a great opportunity for the Raiders. That's it. They're a 2-4 team. It's an opportunity. Okay, this isn't one of these games, and we've gotten up for them with Antonio Pierce and John Gruden. John Gruden made the bus do a lap around Arrowhead Stadium. We've been down this road before. Al Davis in his legendary time as the owner going up against the Hunt family. We've done it all. Okay, all of it. Back to the greatest players to ever play in the rivalry, played in this rivalry, and many of them are in the Hall of Fame. This game has nothing to do with that. Okay, Art Shell and Gene Upshaw are walking through that door. Ken Stabler ain't the quarterback, and Freddie Biletnikoff won't be running routes in the end zone. I'm all about the past in a good way. I love to celebrate the Raiders' past. I love the history of the Raiders as much as anybody. It's kind of a niche that I have. I think I know the history as good as almost anybody on the microphone in Raider modern history, and I love getting into it. I love talking about it. But this is just about an opportunity to play a good team, a team that has owned the Raiders as of late, and put together another game and try to put together what Pete Carroll wants to do. Now, what does Pete Carroll want to do? He wants to play a clean football game. Pete Carroll wants to figure out a way to get his team to play the way he wants them to play. He wants the team to play a certain way that all of his teams have played since he started coaching and becoming successful. And that would be the USC dynasty, and obviously what he did with the Seahawks going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 2 NFC championship games, 10 games a year. What did they do? They played complementary football. They were smart. They knew when to use their timeouts. They ran the ball to set up the pass. They played really good defense with the Legion of Boom. So big, the Legion of Boom. With all that, he doesn't have that team yet here. It's the program that he's trying to build. He's trying to get this program to where he got it with Seattle, and then didn't Seattle take advantage for about a 5-6 year period of winning all these games that they needed to win? The Niner games, the Ram games, the Cardinal games, the Packer games, whatever it was. They won the games because Pete had the entire football team dialed in. That's what he's trying to do here. He's got a couple of players he can do it with. 2 of his best 5 players on the team are down. We don't have an update on Brock Bowers. It's the off day today. Colton Miller's not playing for a while. Those are 2 of the top 5 players on the team that aren't available or haven't been available. Everybody else has to step up and play. There is the trade deadline looming for the Raiders to either unload players, and I have no information on that, or to bring in some players if there are some deals out there that they think could be okay. So when I look at what Pete Carroll's done, 7-9, 7-9, then 11-5 his first 3 years. It was bumpy, and it's bumpy right now. But as Pete Carroll just left this podcast radio studio about 40 minutes ago, he is optimistic about what the team is doing behind the scenes to be ready to play in these games. I don't know what the score is going to be. I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to win or lose or really be in the game or not. I hope they're in the game. And I hope this game, the Raiders have an opportunity to steal it, win it late, because Kansas City's coming off one of the greatest games they've ever played statistically. They had no penalties. And Pete Carroll was funny. I want you to wait for that interview. He said something about Andy Reid and the refs. They had no penalties and no turnovers and only punted once. That is very rare in the history of the NFL. So they're coming off a really good game. They won. They beat a good team. Beat the Detroit Lions at home. Raiders are going away. The Detroit Lions just lost. Let that sink in for a second. So the Raiders are going in there coming off a win against Tennessee, a really bad team. Kansas City's coming off a win against Detroit, where they played almost to perfection. Almost to perfection. So what's going to happen now is the Raiders are going to have to shorten the game and decide on how they're going to take advantage of this opportunity. And that's what we're going to try to do the rest of the show. The rest of the show, we are going to try to figure out if this team has the ability to put together a better game. Can they put together a clean special teams game, which they just had? I thought they had a pretty good defensive game. It was against Tennessee. Who cares? They played the opponent. They beat them. Max Crosby had 2 sacks. Tyree Wilson and Booker fell on fumbles. Okay, a lot of cool things happened in that game, and I didn't think they got beat. They weren't beat badly in the defensive secondary. All of that momentum needs to move forward for the Raiders to win this game against Kansas City. I also talked to someone in the building, a non-coach, who said something perfect today. We're talking about the rivalry and what has to be, what has to win. It's an opportunity to win. All this, what I'm sharing with you as we open it up. And we got into the point here that this year in the NFL, this year has been a really bad year for football. And I say, ooh, do tell. What do you mean? It's just bad. It's terrible. The Bills have lost 2 in a row. The Eagles, the world champs, have lost 2 in a row. Did you see the Jets play in London against Denver? One of the worst football games ever exported over to the pond, over the pond. There has been so much bad football. How about the kicking game around the league? All the block kicks, all the bad special teams play. So if you study the NFL like I do, and you really concentrate on the NFL, you'll notice that it's a really bad year. And I didn't even get into the injuries. Right? I didn't even get into the injuries. Nick Bosa gone for the year. Fred Warner gone for the year. Joe Flacco traded from Cleveland to Cincinnati. Oh, Joe Burrow's gone for the regular season. It's a mess. And the Raiders are sitting here with 2 wins. The Raiders, if they would have beat the Bears, would have been 3-3 going into this game. Do you know how great 3-3 would be around, not the Raiders, around the whole league? I mean, if I could buy like a stock and buy and trade up and pay a premium to be 3-3, if that kick didn't get blocked against Chicago and the Raiders were 3-3 going into this game, it would change everybody's attitude in Raider Nation. But they're 2-4. There's a lot of Raider fans, some of them, that think they're going to lose to go to 2-5 into the bye week, which could happen. But there's a chance to win a game. And if the Raiders win this game and take advantage of this opportunity, any given Sunday, the Raiders are right in the mix in the division again. But I'm not selling that. I'm not here to sell that. Sometimes, look, I sold the Matt McGloin train. Remember, get on the McGloin train after the car went down? Believe me, I've been there on the front lines trying to sell some hope. And when it comes to Kansas City, I've been down that road so many times. I've been battered and bruised with this team. And I know what it's going to take to win. I think I got the good game plan starting today, but mostly tomorrow on how to win. And, I want Gino to wake up. You can't even mention Gino's name in my chat, at JT the Brick YT on YouTube. You got your typical wise asses who want to tell you that Gino's washed, which he's not. You got other people that claim to be Raider fans and they love to celebrate wins and pound the team when they lose. And they are trashing Gino. And Gino's won a lot of games like this one. like this one. If you look back, and I did game by game of Geno over the last couple of years, 2-3 years of his career, Geno won a lot of games like this, where he threw the bomb, where he won, beat the 49ers at Levi Stadium, beat the Rams, played good teams and beat them, and he had good games. But the problem is you cannot tell Raider fans anything about Geno's past because they don't believe it. And I've been down this road before because I told the Raider Nation Josh McDaniels is one of the greatest play callers ever. Oh, by the way, how's he doing? How's Josh McDaniels doing in New England? Anybody? Any wise ass going to tell me he's a bad coach? Not a great head coach. We know that. He got fired. Geno has put up wins like this game. Not saying he's going to win, but he's done it before. You can't even have a rational conversation with some members of the Raider Nation and say, hey, do you know Geno threw for 4,300 yards and 30 touchdowns? I go, no, he didn't. I go, excuse me? No, he didn't. Here it is. It's right here. I'm showing it to you to your face. Oh, that can't be true. Must be a conspiracy theory. No, Geno's played well. Do you think Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, John Spytek, and Chip Kelly would bring Geno Smith here if he sucked? Anybody want to answer that question? I'm not talking about how he's playing now. He's playing very poor right now. I agree with everybody. Everybody who says Geno's not playing well. But how do you think he came to the Raiders at $40 million a year? You think he sent a resume over? I mean, the guy's proven that he could play well in this league. He could play well in this league. He's not playing well. And then everybody who wants to take my comments and say, well, JT's a homer. I think I've spent the last 3 weeks, 3 full weeks, 15 shows telling you how badly Geno's playing. So did I check that box for you? Or what do you want? What do you want more? You want me to go outside the parking lot with a pitchfork in front of Geno's car? What more do I need to say? He's not playing well. Can he play well? Yes, he can play well. I'm concerned about the fact that they went super conservative with Geno to win the Titans game. They didn't put much on Geno's plate in the Titans game to snap out of it and to give him some victories downfield and some big highlight plays. No. That wasn't part of the game plan, which was smart. They, for whatever reason, and Pete didn't tell me this, but it's pretty obvious that they were looking for Geno to manage the last game. I'm here to tell you at headquarters, you cannot beat Kansas City managing a game. At some point in this game, Geno's going to have his come-to-God moment outside the pocket breaking down, and making a play. Aiden O'Connell won in Kansas City and didn't complete a pass in the second, third, and fourth quarter. I don't think that Geno can do that. I don't think that the Raiders can beat Kansas City without Geno completing a pass in the second, third, and fourth quarter. So what I'm trying to say about Geno Smith is, I don't know what you got to do to get his confidence back, because everybody can tell me in an interview his confidence is there. I don't agree. He doesn't look very confident to me. How are you going to get his confidence back without Colton Miller? And if, say, Brock Bowers doesn't play, and I don't know this, I hope Brock plays. If Brock doesn't play, how are you going to get Geno to get his confidence back? Dante Thornton disappeared in the last game, was an absolute non-factor. Non-factor. Jack Bash had 1 target in an NFL game. He was drafted in the second round. How are you going to build Geno's confidence? Well, you're going to have to stick with the running game with Ashton Jeanty. And that brings me to Ashton Jeanty. I think that Ashton Jeanty is going to have to be the player that really carries the Raiders in this game. I think that Ashton Jeanty is going to have a game that all great running backs have had in their rookie years, most of them. All the greats, all the good, like high draft players, they have that one game or two their rookie year where you go, wow, maybe Ashton could have it in this game. Kansas City's never played Ashton Jeanty. Steve Spagnuolo, who's a really good defensive coordinator, is probably going to try to take Ashton out of the game. Wouldn't you assume? Wouldn't you assume he's going to put in 8 in the box to stop Ashton? I would assume that. So can Ashton get by that wall of Chris Jones in Kansas City and take it to the house? Or are the Raiders going to have to pass the ball to open it up for Geno Smith? Really interesting game plan. I don't know. I think the Raiders have to lean on Ashton Jeanty because it doesn't look like there's a lot of confidence with Geno right now. Even if the coach has confidence with him or multiple coaches, we didn't see it against Tennessee. Now, if you really want to be a conspiracy theorist, you could say that they didn't want to show Kansas City anything. Ooh, that's a good one. Raiders were pretty confident they were going to beat Tennessee. Maybe they held a lot back. Maybe there's a bunch in that tool shed out back that they're going to break out in this game. I would hope so. They're going to have to do something there. Show started 17 minutes ago. It's Chiefs week. No one's on hold. No one's ready to go. But I am at my best. That's why I'm in the building. Because I'm ready to go. Imagine if I wasn't ready to go. What'd we do around here? Have a pizza party and talk about what? UNLV football for 3 hours? Which we love UNLV football. It's just at the game. So we want to wake the Raider fans up before Kansas City. There are a few Raider fans, and they're real tough guys. The guys with the tattoos, and their name says Raider Tony or Raider Frankie or Raider something, and they need their hand held. They need the Raider therapist, JT the Brick. They need me to guide them through this. But I know that they know that I might not be able to guide them through the Kansas City Chiefs. But I got a job to do. And my job is not to sell hope. My job is to talk about the game and the team and to interview the players and the coach and to talk to fans and try to keep this show on the track. Keep it moving on the track to see what happens here. But more and more from getting to know Pete Carroll, who is a gentleman, a legend. Everybody should be behind him. He's kind of like a general in a war. You know, you ever see the war movies? I'm a big war movie guy. He's the general in the war, where right now the war's not going great. You know what I mean? Right now there's some people out there on the battlefield got a little bit of an advantage, but he's still leading and trying to turn it around. And that's what we're doing here, and it's the Chiefs. So, yeah, JT, the therapist, the bricktator, whatever you want to do, I'm good today. I'm going to have fun. I enjoy life. Everything's good. Just like to see the Raiders win. I thought the Raiders' record coming into this game would be 3-3. I'm off by a game. But that game is a really big game because if the Raiders did not win this game at 3-3, they'd be 3-4 going into their bye week. I think they beat Jacksonville. I do. At home, I would hope. I think they beat the Giants. I think they beat Cleveland. Oh, now I'm already at 7 wins. But we got to get the 3 wins. And it better happen pretty quick here. And it might not because Kansas City just came off a perfect game. But crazy things happen in this sport, man. Crazy things happen in this sport. And I'm just looking at this team saying to myself, surprise us, please. I know how hard they're going to play. Did you see my Kelce video? Got 1 million views. 1 million. Go to JT the Brick on X. I took a video off my TV of Kelce not getting touched. It's got 1 million views. Not bad. Maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I'm onto something. Maybe I should be a content creator and sit at home with my son and just take videos of the TV of Kelce not getting hit, and I'd make a lot of money. Are we going to guard this guy? I mean, really, why'd we bring in Jamal Adams? It would be for this game, correct? Isn't this the game that we brought Jamal Adams in? It wasn't for the Titans game. It wasn't for what game? Isn't this the game where he can come down in the box and hit Kelce in the mouth legally? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to guard Kelce? We're not going to have another game where we don't guard Kelce, right? We're going to guard Kelce. And then they got Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Pacheco. Oh, my God. They got guys that run as fast as the guys we have. So the last point I'm going to give you before I get out to the phones. They got all these fast guys. In Kansas City, where I'll be on radio on Thursday, on 610 in Kansas City, already booked. Can we get our fast guys going? Dante Thornton and Trey Tucker. We got 2 guys. If Andy Reid and Pete Carroll said before the game, hey, man, we want to have a track meet just for a second. Everybody get off the field. We're going to line up 4 guys. Xavier Worthy, you line up here. Pacheco, you line up. Pete, who do you got? And Pete goes, I got Dante Thornton and Trey Tucker. All right, let's line up all 4 of them at the 50 and race to the end zone. Don't we have guys who can run fast? Or is it just Kansas City? I know the guys that we have who can run fast can catch the football. Dante Thornton's an NFL player drafted in the 4th round, and Trey Tucker's got a bunch of touchdowns this year. Why don't we open it up with those guys? Well, that would be if Geno doesn't have any time, we can't do it. And Pete Carroll said to me in this studio moments ago that Geno looked. Geno looked last game. He didn't throw a pass past 20 yards, but he looked. They looked downfield and they decided to check down. You know how I feel about the check down. But the check down was the reason why the Raiders beat Tennessee. And that was a part of a game plan that worked out, got a win. And the Raiders needed a win. The Raiders needed a win at any cost to get on the plane and go to Kansas City. Thor in Summerlin, Raider Nation Drinking Club. Go ahead, Thor.
JT, look at that. Still celebrating the win, but excited to get our season turned around by shocking the world and figuring out a way to beat Casey. Honestly, I know we want to say we want to run the ball a lot, and I think we do, but I think we want to open it up with the pass. I think Kansas City's defense is only getting about two and a quarter sack a game or so on average. And I think our offensive line is playing better. I think that Austin Gentry, you established him this year as a serious threat so that play action can work, that the threat of Austin is going to give us the ability to throw the ball. And you know what? We just need you to be more confident. Like if Peter is seeing it, if the coaching staff is seeing it, let's believe it and let's manifest it. Like, get out of your own head. They got faith in you. We all got faith in you now. Let's give God this.
Thor, your phone's in trouble, Thor. I appreciate what you said. We're going to keep moving. I'm getting a lot of breakup with your phone. Thanks for starting us off. You made good points. You made very good points. Thor always does. He's diehard Raider Nation. Diehard there. And look, you can't play this game scared. You can't play this game worried. You can't play this game going, oh, my God, let's keep it close. And who the hell does that as a Raider fan? Oh, let's just hope we're in the game. Let's hope. You're a grown-ass man. Go out there, and for the women listening, we appreciate you. You're unbelievable. Go out there and play physical football, play complementary football, which Pete wants. Run the ball heavy, but just don't give up plays with the Raiders on 2nd and 9. Run it into the pile behind Jordan Meredith. And to think that Jordan Meredith's going to block Chris Jones, a gold jacket Hall of Famer, don't run it at Chris Jones on 2nd and 9. Okay? Do not run it up the middle on 2nd and 9. You want to run it up the middle on 1st and 10 and lose a yard or two? Okay. Don't do it again. Find a way to get him out in space. And last week, I really thought that Geno would be sprinting outside the pocket and be mobile and throw a deep ball, and he did none of it. I believe, and I'm not accurate, I'm not saying this, so don't quote me because I don't know if it's true, but I'm sensing that Geno was told in that last game, manage the game and go win it. Just manage the game, don't turn it over, hand it off to Ashton, get the ball out quickly to Michael Mayer, and get us into the locker room with a victory, and Geno did that. Geno didn't have a bad game, but Geno is not Geno. We're not seeing the Geno Smith who could be, I'm not saying a star in this league, but he could be a top 7 to 10 quarterback because he was. The year Geno made the Pro Bowl, did you forget that? Don't tell me the Pro Bowl stinks. I'm talking about him being named a Pro Bowler. What do you think happened there? You think he was named a Pro Bowler because he won it in a birthday raffle? No, Geno played well, and that's why he's here. John Spytek over the next couple of years is supposed to be bringing in, and I'm confident he will, players that can develop into Pro Bowlers. Let me repeat that. You draft players who become Pro Bowlers. This team, as of late, some of the players that are drafted are not playing because they're not good enough to play over the starters. But they were drafted to be on this team and to be building blocks. Darian Porter played 0 defensive snaps in the last game. Caillou, Blue Kelly struggles. He struggles. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 50 yards. In the NFL, 396 yards total. Not very good. And then if you look at the other players that have been drafted to play that aren't active on game day, a lot of it happens because of Jonah Lualu is playing ahead of J.J. Pegues and Tonka Hemingway. The young offensive linemen we drafted, I would like to see them play a little bit more. I don't believe that you have to have, like Jackson Powers Johnson is the only guy now that Colt Miller's out that you stick with. I think you got to stick with Meredith because you made him the center over JPJ. DJ Glaze is okay. He's not Lincoln Kennedy. I can tell you that. He's okay. And Dylan Parham, I think the clock's on Dylan Parham. I mean, the other guys aren't as good as Dylan Parham? Okay. If they better be down the road. They were drafted to be better than Dylan Parham. So everybody on that offensive line, take the victory, take the good that came out of it, and play better. And go beat Kansas City. Because Kansas City is absolutely no joke. And Pete Carroll, again, it was really good. At the end of the interview, we talked about Eric Allen, right? Eric Allen had his Pro Football Hall of Fame ring. Also, Coach Carroll talked about the Aces. They're doing a lot of aces around here. The Aces story of their worst loss when they lost by, 53 points, and then they won the title. They're not comparing themselves to a WNBA team. They're comparing the story of redemption. And Coach Carroll was really proud of what the Aces have done. The owner owns both teams and made a couple of analogies on how the team can turn it around. Everybody's trying to figure it out. And until they figure it out, we're going to sit here and give us our opinions. We're going to be respectful, and we're going to talk about what the Raiders have to do. All right, when we come back, we're going to get more into this and hear what you think should be the key. I don't think we have to talk about the Titans anymore. They fired their head coach. Let's get an extra day of prep on the Kansas City Chiefs. Why don't we do that? Let's get an extra day of prep. I want to thank my partners at Modelo. What a job they do for me. They were all there at Top Golf. The whole Modelo team, proud partner of the show. Modelo, my bucket of Modelos on Friday. And what this company has done as they continue to grow and do great things here in the Valley and all over the world.
It's the morning tailgate.
Okay, Alex.
All right. How we doing, everybody? We had to move Alex. We got Jeff Sherman coming up. Man, when I'm doing the monologue and I'm looking at my phone and people need to move the interview and do all that, I'm kind of chewing gum and, riding a motorcycle at the same time here. Good to see all the bricklayers in there.
He's at 7 a.m. on Feeder Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
JT.
Hold on, yep. Yes, Clay. Yeah, she's not able to do it till next hour, so I'll text you when she's ready. She's not available till she had to move an interview. She's doing so. We'll just do Jeff Sherman. Let's break at 12:40. Jeff Sherman at 12:45. Okay.
To hear from head coach Pete Carroll as JT sits down for his exclusive one-on-one conversation. That conversation brought to you by Cox. Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Hey, JT, Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only if Grimaldi's can get their famous Kino style full fire pick on the pizza. All
right, everybody behaving in the chat. No sign of the Bricktator today, man. No sign of the Bricktator. The Fluffer, Snow Raider, Kyle Lang, Big D. Yeah, they got to get up for this game. I think the Raiders will be up for the game. I think Pete Carroll, when he told me about the rivalry, he doesn't want to make it about him, man. He wants to make it about the Raider players stepping up for this. That's refreshing. It's snowing in Tahoe. Wow. How about the Dodgers winning 2-1? How wild was that finish? Dodgers bases loaded, getting out of that jam. Blake Snell pitched one of the greatest postseason games we ever seen. We saw Cam Slittler of the Yankees. Remember when he beat the Red Sox and had one of the games for the ages? And then we just saw a tremendous performance by Blake Snell. And I've been reminding Dodger fans, if they didn't have an out of control $415 million payroll, they wouldn't have Blake Snell because they have Ohtani and they have other pitchers there, but they have the luxury of getting Blake Snell. Apprenticeships, career paths, all the public work zones, and the schedules that are happening here in our valley. I'm proud to be associated with the 872 Cloud Partners of my. Yeah, Clyde.
She wants to go on Ellie's general manager.
No, I just said she's not available right now. We got to move her back. Did you not hear that? Or she's not available. Wait, can you hear me? Are you acknowledging this? Or I don't know. I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me, Clay?
Generations. You're still waterway wisdom, so you can help do your part this fall. Don't break or pull these.
One more time. Okay. Thank you.
Eligible for cash back points for every wager made.
My Pete Carroll questions. My Pete questions.
Show. 2 by PT, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Backfield with Cam Ward. Raider showing blitz again. Heavy pressure. They back out. They bring just 4. Ward. Pressure up the middle. It's by low. Super game. Jonah Larulo drops him at the 34. Pressure through the middle. And the Las Vegas native with a dance on a 9-yard sack.
Yeah, how about Jonah and the way he's playing? We're brought to you by Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men on Sahara in Summerlin. The hydrated, super hydrated facial. Anything you need. You want to lose weight? You want to regrow your hair? Some of you guys want to get Botox. Some of you guys want to try something to make yourself feel better and look better. TMRW, Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men, new proud partner of the show. I've been there a few times. It's relaxing. It's a male med spa, not female, male med spa. And some of you guys need to get going on this because it's unbelievable. They got deals for everybody here. Go try it out. Tell me what you think. Go online, see everything there. And I think once you get in there and meet their staff, you'll love it. You men need to treat yourself better, man. So I got another partner on this show. How many do we have? 19 or 20 that loved the show, listened to it, and said, JT, get some people over to Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men, this male, unbelievable spa where you kick back with a bunch of other guys and you can get a treatment or two that you like, especially the hydrated super facial, which is fantastic. And you won't believe what they take out of your face and what you see when you're done and how relaxed you are. We welcome them into the show. Good people over there, great team, and we love it. Now, this game, I got all my notes here. If you're watching on YouTube, I get this big book of stats before every game. It's the Stats Perform, and it's brought to you by Opta Reports. And I read it all. And I read it all, cover to cover, to try to prep for the show. But it comes back to me on hitting Kelsey at the line of scrimmage because I'm just amazed that some of the greatest defensive coaches I've been around don't do it. Now we have Pete Carroll, and I brought it up to him. I said, you have the players that can hit him at the line of scrimmage. Will they do that? And Coach Carroll, you'll hear the interview, later in the week was describing the fact that he's a little bit more than that. He's a little bit more than that. They scheme him up differently now, but either way, you got to hit him. I don't care how you scheme him. He gets off the line of scrimmage free. You're dead. If you don't hit him, you're dead. He's going to have a gold jacket in Canton, and on the inside pocket, there's going to be a Raider logo, just like LaDainian Tomlinson had. We couldn't stop LaDainian Tomlinson in Oakland. We sent every linebacker we had and defensive tackle at LaDainian Tomlinson, and he chewed us up and spit us out. The good news was the Chargers didn't win. They won the games. They beat Oakland in some games, but the Chargers never did anything. They never won a Super Bowl, and LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates had big games against us in the Raider Nation. Kelsey's next level. Kelsey's winning Super Bowls, dating the biggest pop star in the world. At least we can do is smack him at the line of scrimmage. That's the least we can do. And I hope we do it with Patrick Graham, Pete Carroll, and this Robbie Leonard defensive line, and we slow him down a bit. I don't think I can handle another game where Kelsey has 7 receptions for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, let's go. Let's figure this one out. I think we have the personnel. I don't think we have great personnel on the back end with Caillou, and Stokes is a good player, but I'm worried about the speed of Kansas City. I'm not worried about the speed of Kelsey. Chris in West Oakland checking in on a nice day today. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your calls always. Go ahead.
Not a nice day. It's pouring rain here in the Bay Area.
Is it?
But anyway, yes, it is. Well, like you said, it's snowing in Tahoe. It's rained most of the day here yesterday. It's kind of ugly right now. But listen, 2 quick things before I get into the game. One, you're talking about the Dodgers. Something you said yesterday, there's not that many people outside of L.A. rooting for the Dodgers. There's no A's. There's plenty of A's fans rooting for the Dodgers because the enemy of our enemy is our friend. We despise the San Francisco Giants. So anytime the Dodgers win while I'm not rooting for them, it sticks in the craw of the Giants fans, and I'm okay. And it's that $400 million payroll you talked about with the Dodgers that allows them to overcome the buffoonery of Dave Roberts, who almost did it again last night, taking out a dominant pitcher. Only Don Larson's ever thrown 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, and faced the minimum through 8. Absolutely no reason. And he didn't take him out for Mariano Rivera. He took him out for Blake Trainwreck Trinan. Don't ever underestimate the ability of Dave Roberts to screw up a short series. But one other thing, JT, I'd be remiss. Yesterday we forgot. Happy 78th birthday to one of our idols, the great Sammy Hagar. 78 years and still going strong. Unbelievable. So about the game this week, I'm with you when it comes to Keno. Let it all hang out. Look, the Chiefs are better than the Raiders. There's no doubt about that. We're not going to win the game like we did last week, just hoping the Chiefs are worse than us like the Titans. If he throws 2 or 3 picks, he throws 2 or 3 picks. But we've got to go out, take the game to the Chiefs, get some big plays. Like I said, they brought Keno here for a reason. You're a little higher on him than I've been. However, he's here. Let's see if he can go toe-to-toe Sunday with Patrick Mahomes. That's how we're going to win. And one other thing, JT, we've talked about this over and over, the turnovers. We got some turnovers last Sunday. Devin White, Max. Are we ever going to get a pick out of our secondary? Palomar got one in the first game of the year that was thrown right to him. Is there a member of the secondary that has an interception hit? We've got to start getting some interceptions out of our secondary, turning the game around, changing momentum, and giving the offense a short field to work on occasionally instead of constantly having to go 75 and 80 yards. So that's my call for the week, JT. That's how we're going to beat the Chiefs. Geno's going to have to go out and throw for 300 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Again, if he throws for if you try to manage the game and limit the mistakes, you're going to probably get hammered anyway. So let it all hang out. Let's see what they can do on Sunday and hope they can turn this season around going into the bye week. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. I see wasted talent in our chat. A lot of new friends. All you got to do is subscribe to YouTube for free and get in there, and you'll see me live at Raiders headquarters right now. I'll also be a part, playing some role at the Raiders viewing party for the Kansas City Chiefs. If you're in Vegas, I'm getting the details on that. There's going to be a viewing party here, $5 to come into headquarters and watch the Kansas City game. And you'll see me there behind the microphone for some of that. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, Chris is right. I mean, we brought Geno in here to throw bombs, manage games, and have a high completion percentage. We cannot be in fear that Geno can't win a game. If we get to that point, it's not going to work out. It just won't. So Geno's going to have to win games. Geno's won games like this. He's won plenty of games like this. He's got to get back to doing it again. Derek in New Jersey. Thanks for listening on the Raiders mobile app. Hello, Dave.
Thanks for taking the call.
Mhm.
To your point, I think the concern is the offensive, the O-line. I don't think we can do that drop back throw 30 times. I just don't think it because you said Chris Jones, he'll be all over the place.
Hmm.
And what you said before is Spagnuolo is gonna stuff the box. I think you have to go to like that West Coast 3-step drop, boom. You got to do the quick hitters. That's just my opinion because you can't run the ball on them because they're going to stack it, and they don't fear going deep. They don't.
They don't.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they do at all. I think they don't think that Geno is going to have enough time to throw the deep ball. That's why Geno's got to come out and I think move the pocket and roll right and throw a couple of deep balls just to let Kansas City know that we're in the building and the deep ball is going to be available, even if it's not a completion. Something Raider Mort said for decades. Let them know you're there. Big Al Davis said, let them throw it over the wall. Al Davis said that 10-yard, throw it over the wall. Let them know you're going to be there all day.
I think you're right. I think if we do that early, like on first down, I mean, you're playing the long game.
Yeah.
We do that on first down, the first couple series to let them know, look, we're willing to take a shot because on first down, they're probably thinking we're going to run the ball with Genty. So, yeah, on the first couple series, maybe you take a long throw to soften them up. Maybe you hit one or two, but at least the thought is there. And you do it on first down when they're expecting us to run Genty down their throats.
Yep. Thanks for the call. I got to run. Appreciate it. I agree with you. You got to do something different. Look, I don't normally say if you follow me on X, embrace the shootout. Normally when you play Kansas City or a team that's got a unique quarterback like Lamar Jackson, you're going to have to score 30 if you're going to have any chance. But I don't think the Raiders are doing that now. I think they want ball control, running the ball with Ashton Genty. They want to play complementary football, win on special teams, win on defense with some turnovers. We'll see how it plays out. That's what we're doing. We're trying to figure this out together. Brought to you by Boyd Gaming, home of locals here in the Valley. Always bet on black. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get right to Jeff. We don't have to play a soundbite because we can just come out and just go right to Jeff.
Up to what Rocky thinks now the doctors tell me that it risks for injury. I have to resist for the long term of the season. You would take a doctor telling me I can't do that.
Pretty cool spot we're in here. Let me just show you a little bit. This is where we do a lot of our This is the last chance. If the mic doesn't stay connected, I'm just going to bail. Thought it was. I'm just, you know. Yep. All right, we got Jeff Sherman from the Westgate. We'll talk to him.
Members of Play Personal, Play 7-2. Never stop building. From the asphalt down.
Oh, yes, the bricklayer, the head of the bricklayers say it's better. You know, I just like to come into a studio and have it right and have my mics right and just do what I do for a living is effing talk without having to play tech guy, man. Someday that will happen. I will be streamed perfectly. I won't have to press a button and I will graduate into being a real streamer, right? Let me see the Bricktator. Get the Bricktator up there for a second. I haven't seen the Bricktator in a couple days.
I can teach you how to play on games. We're going to change your perspective because you too can be a winner. Join me at betmoneyhoney.com. That's betmoneyhoney.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
Landon Roberts forcing his fist in the air. Here they come with a blitz. Hold on. Hold on. Jeff,
That'll be first and goal, Las Vegas.
Tyree Wilson playing better. We need him to play a lot better. He was a high draft pick, number 7 overall. JT live at Raiders headquarters. Jeff Sherman joins us over at the Superbook, the Westgate, the VP of Risk Management. So let's start with Super Bowl odds here, Jeff, because the Bills have lost 2 in a row and the Philadelphia Eagles, the world champs, have lost 2 in a row, and Kansas City is playing better. How has that affected Super Bowl odds?
Well, it looks a lot more wide open with Buffalo, the Super Bowl favorite, at 6-1, when last week they were 9-2 going into last night's game. So you start at 6-1 with Buffalo, Kansas City down to 7-1, Detroit and Green Bay 8-1, and the Eagles, like you mentioned, they're out to 12-1 now, when they were 6-1 earlier this season.
Sharp money coming in on the Eagles, figuring out that they're going to pick it up here because Kansas City's moving dramatically, and I still think the infrastructure and the core of the Eagles is rock solid.
No, I mean, on a week-to-week basis, we're getting money against the Eagles, and we've already seen it against with the Vikings this week, Philadelphia down to 2, and in the Super Bowl odds, it's really not showing up right now, and that's why we have the flexibility to ease them out to 12-1.
How hard has it been, or interesting, if you can tell us about the Jets playing some of the worst situational football we've ever seen? Aaron Glenn, obviously, in the situation where he can't turn it around, and I would think a lot of the public is going heavy against the Jets as of late.
Yeah, I would use the word frustrating because we often need the Jets, and when you see the calling on that, as we saw Sunday morning, it kind of, you scratch your head at it. And, it's not usually a good situation for us, even though they did cover the game.
Raiders here catching 12.5 to 11.5 at one point. Got a lot of Raider audience here, plus our national audience here. What do you see going on with the Raiders when it comes to season totals, and a big number here that the Chiefs are laying at Arrowhead against the Silver and Black?
Yeah, we had on the look-ahead line, we had Kansas City minus 10.5, and obviously after the perception of how they did against Detroit, we had to bump it up, and it's 11.5 now, so catching a big number. And, everyone looks back to the Chiefs last year, how they were squeaking by in the game. So I think we'll see some Raider support in this game with a number like that. And, the Raiders coming off the win against Tennessee, at least it's holding that number not much higher than it could have been.
The initial line for the Colts and the Chargers, I saw Colts getting about 6. Now the line, Chargers down to maybe minus 1.5, wherever you have it there today, as the line is moving here. Chargers have been struggling to win these games, but they eke them out. And the Colts, I wonder if they're up for that road test. That's not a hard place to play historically there, and the Colts are playing as good as any team in the NFL.
Yeah, Colts are a very public team right now, supported every week, and that's why you see a low number here short of 3. And, as I mentioned before, that 2.5 at home is considered equal. So right now the Colts power rating is slightly higher than the Chargers. the Colts have made a large move in the Super Bowl odds down to 16-1 right now.
Let's move to the Cowboys here, as the Cowboys are getting points at home against the Commanders, coming off an embarrassing loss to Carolina. I know a lot of the public likes to jump on the Cowboys last second here. This feels like a must-win game for Dallas as the season's getting away from them.
Yeah, an awful loss last night for the Commanders, too. It's opened Commanders -2.5. It's down to 2, so we've seen some early Dallas money. The interesting thing about this game, the total 55.5, one of the higher ones you'll see this season.
Jeff Sherman, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate. Let's move to the Dodgers. And wow, that Blake Snell performance was unbelievable. They beat a good Philadelphia team. I thought that was good enough to beat them. And now they didn't beat the Brewers in the regular season. They're up 1 on them. How has World Series odds changed for the Dodgers going forward?
They are currently a -145 favorite. And this is the first time this year that they've entered minus money. They got them plus money all the way up until this morning. So -145 right now. Seattle, second choice at +205. Then the Milwaukee +1050 and Toronto +1675.
Wow, look at Toronto +1675. Tell me a bit of a story about the Mariners and their early future odds and what happened coming into the playoffs here, where they look now to be in control of the series as they go back to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, when they made those trades at the trade deadline, you could have found them at 25-1.
Yeah.
Then they went on that run that they had at the end of the season to win the division, and there's some people sitting with some nice prices out there. So it's you have to look for that in baseball. Things turn quickly. We saw it with the Tigers last year, and now Seattle this year.
Jeff, what was the storyline of the Aces this year? I know a lot of gamblers bet the Aces here in Las Vegas locally. That has an effect where you could have got the Aces at their best price compared to when they got rolling in the postseason and now winning a title 3 out of 4 years. Tell us the Aces story from a gambling perspective.
Yeah, a very interesting one. We obviously had liability on them, but coming off that 53-point loss at home to Minnesota, they reached 40-1. That was their apex. Mm-hmm. And we saw some money at 35-1, but reaching 40-1 on a title team, and Asia Wilson winning the MVP, you could have found her at 100-1 after that game, that loss to Minnesota. So 40 and 100 were available out there on the Aces this year, and both of them end up cashing.
And finally, I'm looking at the futures market right in front of me for the NBA. Obviously, Oklahoma City, a pretty heavy favorite here. But after that, it seems to be wide open with the Knicks, Cleveland, Denver, Warriors here. So tell us about the futures market for the NBA. It seems to be Oklahoma City. And who else after that?
Yeah, Oklahoma City, the starting point. Denver has seen some support with their nice offseason. Then you have the 2 Eastern teams, Cleveland at 7, New York at 9. The interesting thing here is the rise on the Lakers. They went from 12-1 up to 16 with LeBron's injury. He's supposed to be out about a month. It could be longer with that type of injury. So we really had to make some adjustments on the Lakers. 16-1. They're not the favorite for the division. Their season win total went from 48.5 down to 46.5. So we were doing a lot of work on the Laker numbers last week.
And finally, give us something to take away on the Super Contest and how it's evolved this year compared to years past. What's a good storyline with your great contest, one of the best in the world?
Well, the evolution we've seen has the entrance of the college contest. That's the new one, and we've seen a lot of interest in that. Plus the Survivor is the first year that we've been doing that, and you've seen a lot of upsets this year with that, and a lot against the spread in the Classic one. Everyone got up to a very poor start, where against the spread numbers, the consensus picks were doing very poorly, but they've turned it around a little bit.
Great, Jeff. We'll send everybody over to the Westgate. Love having you on. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, thanks, JT.
Jeff Sherman, VP of Risk Management over there. We always have sharp handicappers on. That's one of the sharpest handicappers in the world. Jeff Sherman over there at the Westgate. Bet with your wallet, not with your head. Man, I had no idea the Raiders were getting 12 points. What? Man, I didn't look. That's on me. I don't gamble. I put gamblers on the radio. So if you're feeling good about this game and you're a Raider fan, if you feel good about this game and you're a Raider fan, which a lot of people are who listen to me, man, this is probably your time to sprinkle a little money line on the Raiders if you think the Raiders are going to do it. The initial line was Raiders plus 9.5. Now you could get Raiders plus 12.5, anywhere down to 11.5 there. So Vegas don't think the Raiders have a shot. We tend to think the Raiders do have a shot because we're the flagship of the silver and black. Wild first hour, man. We were all over the place. Levi Edwards joins me hour number 2, and Alex Eshelman from ABC 13, the reporter. She's going to join us. She has an interview with Asia Wilson, the MVP now, so she had to move back about 20 minutes. So we got a good second hour coming up. We're excited about that. Brought to you by Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. A lot of F1 action building up right around Virgin.
Let's hop across the pond again.
All right. Oh. Come back. Okay, we'll play that sound that we had, okay? The first part I didn't play. Gino and Pete, yeah.
Friends, absolutely, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. There's a new way to get to the game. Ebride. Ebride is the luxury consumer shuttle service. They must acquire shares so you can ride like a pro. Ebride will take you round trips. Shark in the ponds and out the lake. Legion Stadium. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting in long taxi or rideshare lines. Ride like a pro. Ebride it, and you'll get in and out. Reserve your ride at ebride.com. Use promo code BREAK. That's ebride.com. Promo code BREAK. When you're injured, knowing someone has your back changes everything. Our family has spent over 3 decades fighting or pursuing justice for the injured. It's a long family heritage that we proudly carry on. From our father, to our family, to the expert legal team at the Castro Marine, we founded this firm. We're the Castro Marines, and we have your back. Brotherswin.com. It's up, yes, Gary. Tailgate, I have got to talk to you about one of the premier sports lounges in the valley, General Admission, Las Vegas. This is not your average sports bar. The double smash burgers, my personal favorites, this is the tea and some DJ. Made from scratch. General Admission, Las Vegas, each sort of 13 years, 21. Like, kids, comments, Brando with the 215. Find them online at generaladmissionlv.com.
I'm a bit surprised the Raiders are getting that many points. That was a little bit of a shock to me. I normally don't get shocked. That was kind of a shock.
Take internet with a 2-year plan, price lock guaranteed. Listen, open it good. So get your household up to speed. Switch to Cox Internet today.
Anybody seen any good movies lately? My wife and son saw that Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Son, what was the name of that movie? Well, my younger son didn't see it. My older son did. I'm going to be gone for the bye week. I'm going to work the Monday of the bye week and then go see my parents, play some golf, get the hell out of here for a couple of days during bye week, take some time off. Yeah, well, Big D, people are, if you're waiting to bet the Raiders, man, I don't know why you're waiting, man. Getting 11 or 12 points. Yeah, Clay. Okay.
Up to them. All the sports have features sync. Early cash out and live play streaming on all major sports.
Florida, my folks are in Naples, Florida, which is exactly opposite Miami on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, really? My expectations were a little much, and I don't care who hears that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. He's legendary. His track record speaks for itself. He competes every single day, and that's what I love about your Silver and Black came to sound off for over 25 years.
I will play harder longer than the guy lining up across your team, lining up across your man. If you're not, then I want to be the space. That's where the Raiders have been. But I expect excellence every day. Now, here's JT the Brick.
All right, we're back here, everybody. It's hour number 2 on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio. Hope everybody's having a good day. I knocked out my interview with Pete Carroll earlier this morning, right before the show, actually, which was, pretty important because we're talking to Pete Carroll here. As you know, we're talking all the time with the head coach, and wanted to get your vibe about what you think is going to happen for the game. And I personally believe the Raiders are going to have to play close to a perfect game to win. Do they want to shorten the game and take the air out of the ball and run it? Do they want to run it with Ashton Jeanty? I would assume that's the plan. The way Geno's playing, I don't think they're going into Kansas City to tell everybody that, hey, what we're going to do is just go 4 wide and throw bombs with this offensive line. I don't think that's the game plan. You got Ashton Jeanty. You drafted him number 6 overall. And when you draft a guy number 6 overall and he's never played in that building, I don't think he has in college. He might have, if I could be missing it, but Ashton Jeanty is going to have to go in there and carry the load. And he's going to have to go in there and carry the load and play a great game. And if he's able to do that and play a great game, Raiders have a shot to win. And Pete Carroll is really big right now on complimentary football. He wants to see everybody playing clean football. So do your job. Don't turn it over. Play clean. Do it the right way. Some sound from Geno Smith on the post game where you can tell his goal was to cut down on the turnovers. He had 1 interception in the game, but overall for the rest of the team and his teammates, it was a clean football game.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as clean as I would like. Obviously, can't throw an interception in that situation. Was trying to dirt the ball. I told Coach I need to go jump in the lake or ocean or something. I mean, it's just a lot of bad luck stuff happening to me, but, I'm in control of that. But, when our defense plays the way that they played today, when Devin goes out there, makes the plays that he made, Max out there disrupting the game all game long. I mean, those guys flying around, giving us the energy, the crowd, getting involved. And then us, playing clean, for the most part. I thought we did a great job on some 3rd down situations. I thought we ran the ball well, 1st and 2nd down, kept ourselves on schedule. And that allowed us to play our game. And so when we can go out there and play the way that we're supposed to, and we can execute the right way, we have a shot to, win a lot of games.
Yeah, Geno said something interesting there. He said, maybe I need to jump in the ocean or jump in a lake, because some bad things have been happening there. I think that's a big deal. Geno's basically telling you he can't believe what's happening. This is not Geno Smith. It's not. He's thrown interceptions before, but not at this rate. And he's preparing really hard. He wants to be the quarterback for the Raiders long term. So it's not like the guy's out at a nightclub, not prepping and looking at his playbook. The guy's doing everything possible to play his best football, and it's not happening. And it's not happening with Chip Kelly. And I'm not blaming Chip. I'm not blaming Geno. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just pointing it out. These are grown-ass men who know a lot more football than I do. And what they're doing is they're trying to figure it out in progress, and it's taking too long. It's taking too long to play quarterback at a high level for Geno Smith. So why is that? So we got Raider Nation pointing fingers all over the nation. Well, he doesn't have any time to throw. Well, Geno can't do this. Geno can't do that. Well, he doesn't have any time in the pocket. Well, he won't roll outside the pocket. All of this is coming down heavy on Geno Smith. But Geno got into the fact that they won the game. He gets paid to win games, and I think that gives Geno some momentum in preparation of this game with Kansas City.
I mean, we know, what wins could do for you in this league. And, yeah, I mean, shoot, man, you never want to go on a streak like that. But, the key thing is that we stick together. And I think the togetherness of this team, the organization, it's, bar none. I mean, it's second to none. And I just think as we continue to grow throughout the season, we're going to have to get more and more wins so that we can continue to gain our confidence. But every week's a fist fight. Every week's a dog fight. We got to come out with the same approach we took this week, which is to go out and make it happen and get it done.
Yeah, everything he said from a leadership standpoint has been a 10 out of 10. It really has. I mean, he's different than Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr in his post-game pressers or the week of. Derek was a man of faith, and Derek spoke a certain way. Derek wasn't – I want to make this sound right. Derek was not negative unless it got really negative, and you could tell he was a little bit down. But Derek always tried to make it positive and wanted people to believe. Well, Geno's the same guy. Geno's trying to get it going, and we're trying to see what's going to happen. As M.A. says in my chat, Gino 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions is coming. Would love it against the Chiefs. Well, I don't think 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions is happening. Okay, I don't. I'd like it to happen, but I don't know how it could happen coming off the Titans game. Now, in the Titans game, if he threw 4 touchdowns with an interception, I'd be a little bit more optimistic about this game. But they haven't gotten Gino going yet. And the offensive line is not a very good offensive line. We can all admit that. That's not Captain Obvious stuff here. We all know that this is not a good offensive line. They don't seem to want to roll Gino out and make him mobile outside the pocket. And Gino doesn't seem to want to run. When he ran in the last game, which wasn't too far from my season tickets where I sit, I had a good view of Gino, and he almost blew out his knee trying to run and slide with no one in front of him. I'm like, wait a second. I've talked for weeks about the other quarterbacks around the league running with a purpose, and I'm not seeing it from Gino. That would be Trevor Lawrence, Jackson Dart. Now, we know Buffalo's quarterback is incredible. I'm not asking him to run like Mahomes. I'm not asking him to run that way or like Lamar Jackson, any way like that. But what I'm asking him to do is run at a more aggressive pace with purpose. And if he's able to do that, then I think we'll be in a pretty good spot because Gino will have a new look to him. Gino will have a new vibe to him if he's able to run. Alex Esselman, kind enough to join us from ABC 13, Raider Insider, also covering the world champion, the dynasty of the Aces and UNLV football. And Alex, I know it's exciting times for you. Let's start off instead of the Raiders with the Aces as you're interviewing Asia Wilson and this championship team ahead of the parade. How exciting is that for Vegas?
So exciting, JT. Thank you as always for having me. I was in Phoenix all last week covering games 3 and 4, and I was actually just texting you a handful of minutes ago. I'm like, I'm going to be on the show. I just have to finish up my interview with Asia. They're doing their exit interviews right now, right next door to Raiders HQ, as you know. And what an incredible story behind this year's Aces team. And I asked Kelsey Gray, Jewel Lloyd, and Asia Wilson this question. I said, of all your championships that you've won, because now all 3 of those have 3 or more. Kelsey was 4. And I said, is this your favorite? And they said, without a doubt, absolutely, because of the uncertainty and the trials and obstacles we had to overcome as a group. And you could feel that, JT, right in the middle of the season when they had that historic loss to the Minnesota Lynx, when everyone was going, I don't even know if this team is going to make it to the playoffs this year. I don't know what's happening. To see them turn it around and win this one was really, really cool and really special.
Alex Esselman's our guest. I agree with you. I just interviewed Pete Carroll this morning here to air later on this week, and it's incredible. He's quoting that. He really understands the adversity that Becky Hammon and Nikki Fargas went through with this team and Asia when they hit rock bottom with that 50-point game at home, and a lot of people doubted them, and then they went on this run. That's interesting. It's a great question you asked because this should be their favorite one because a lot of people counted them out. And this one, in my opinion, is the biggest one because they became a dynasty. You can't be a dynasty in sports without 3. Two's great. 2's fantastic, but it's not a dynasty. Now they'll be considered a dynasty, all of those ladies, the rest of their life. And the dynasty could still go. They could win 4 out of 5, 5 out of 7. But to get to that 3rd one, I think that is the most important one and puts them on the map in Las Vegas as the dynasty team.
I couldn't agree more. And like I said, JT, being in Phoenix last week, the amount of Aces fans, not only from Las Vegas, but all over the country who came to support the team, it just goes to show that we talk about it on your show all the time, how special of a place Las Vegas is, how special of the growth that we're seeing within the sports world here. And the fan bases are very unique. I mean, the Raiders fan base is just continuing to grow here. The Aces fan base is very unique, and it's actually different from the local Las Vegas or Vegas Golden Knights scene. I mean, there's all these different groups of people in our city that have at least one team that they're super passionate about. And that was cool to see as well, them experience the dynasty of this team, like you're talking about.
All right, Alex, let's get to the Raiders. I'm really surprised Gino's struggling so much. I thought that Gino would be throwing more deep balls, more connections, but he got a win. I thought it was more of a conservative game plan to get Ashton Genty going, as Ashton Genty, when he has holes to run through, could really carry the Raiders and eat the ball and eat the clock and do a lot of things and get into the end zone here. But eventually, Geno Smith has got to get going. And now the next opponent is Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. What do you think about Geno maybe starting to get going, building a little confidence coming off the win?
Well, I hate to throw it back to you with the question, JT, but I am curious how much of Geno's struggles right now are because of the offensive line play. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of it has to do with that. I think that's really the key here is the offensive line's not giving them a lot of time to protect. And the offensive line, Colton Miller's down, and they're breaking in a new center still who didn't play the position before. That has a lot to do with it, but, it's not going to be perfect. There's a lot of other quarterbacks, Alex, in the league that don't have great offensive lines and make more plays than Geno has over the last month. And I'm pro Geno. I think Geno could get it going because you saw it. You saw the plays that he made in Seattle under Pete Carroll over the years. He could make plays downfield and be an electric player from time to time.
Right. And I think a positive, I mean, even though it is Kansas City, at Arrowhead this upcoming week, the Raiders do have a little bit of luck when playing there. So maybe this is the moment. I'm not sure, but it is a bummer, JT. There's really no other way to put it in terms of the way, it's playing right now. Because I agree with you. I'm a huge fan of Geno Smith, and I think we all want to see him do what we've seen him do in Seattle. For whatever reason, it's not fully clicking yet. Thankfully, we got a win this weekend. I think that is definitely another positive, and who knows, maybe we get a little more luck this weekend at Arrowhead.
What do you have lined up here? Tell us about the Aces parade going forward and what the fans could look forward to. A couple of years ago, I was sitting above it. We were at a restaurant that just opened up, and they came Ocean Grill. They came right underneath us with the buses, and on the way, we we're like, "Oh my God, this looks pretty good here." Now that they're a dynasty team, the route for the parade, as we know, coming down Las Vegas Boulevard from Trop to Toshiba Plaza, I'm hoping that a lot of fans turn up. Plus, there's F1 construction going on, so I think people need to plan accordingly. What can you tell us?
Great question. Definitely plan accordingly. We will have people, at least from Channel 13, we're going to have this parade blown up on our station. We're going to have our all of our talent down there. They're going to be on the kind of the route all the way to Toshiba Plaza from start to finish. A number of people are going to be, stationed there, going live from those areas, interviewing fans. So for everybody who's listening, come out to the parade. It's going to be a blast. The team, I was just with them. They're already planning for it, looking forward to it. They've got their outfits planned, ready to go, and ready to just kind of spend the day with locals. And so, yeah, plan accordingly. There's definitely going to be fans down there, and we hope to get as many fans as possible down there and also showcase them on Channel 13. So that'll be great.
I know you've got a really busy day. Thanks for making time for us. Always appreciate your content and everything you're doing, covering multiple sports teams in this town. Thanks for doing this, Alex. Did we lose her? I think we might have lost her. She's driving around deep Henderson. Appreciate her coming on here. Nice job. And the Aces and the tie-in with Mark Davis is obviously pretty connecting here. They're right next door to where I am today. They're doing their exit interviews, and they've become a dynasty. And the growth of the WNBA is significant since Mark Davis bought the team. And if you look at what Mark Davis has done, he's trying to turn the Raiders around. We all know that. And we know what the struggle's been like this year with the Raiders. But Mark and his staff, and a lot of people are connected through here, deserve a good time celebrating this victory here in town, especially being a dynasty. I'm a big dynasty guy. I love studying and talking about the great dynasties in sports. and this is a pretty big one here. So congratulations to the Aces. A lot of people, when I drive by here every day, I'm noticing fans outside. Fans are excited about this. And if you're going to the parade, as she said, get there early because, people complain about F1 traffic. Let me get on my soapbox. Hold on, grab it. There it is. Yeah, I'm standing on my soapbox. People complain about traffic. We don't have any traffic in Vegas. I lived in LA and San Francisco and New York. It's a disaster. I can get to this building from Summerlin in deep Henderson in 18 minutes. Now, we have a little bit of rush hour, a couple of days a year, not a couple of weeks, a couple of days a year it rains, kind of slows us down. And then we have construction for F1, which is a multi-billion, with a B, multi-billion-dollar deal. And look, I don't own a business right next to F1. I don't know what it's like to own a restaurant or to have a business and how to get rerouted for all that. I try to stay at home as much as possible and take Ubers, and I understand it. But when you're sports and entertainment capital of the world, you're going to have a little traffic with F1. And I think F1's trying to change the start times and do things and lower the ticket prices so fans can have a little bit more fun. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get this thing to a point where more fans can show up and have a good time, especially after that first year when everybody was scared to death to go to F1 because they thought tickets were $4,000 a ticket. No, it wasn't. If you wanted to stay at the top of Resorts World or win, yeah, it was $4,000 for a package and all that. Now, I highly recommend everybody go out and check it out. It's been a lot of fun. I've been there every year. My buddy stays at the Cosmo when he's gambling, and he has a wraparound suite there. And we go up there and watch the straightaway and have some beverages and do all that. That's always my birthday weekend. And this year, we have F1 and the Cleveland Browns in town. And I know a lot of fans from Cleveland are coming in. All right. Thanks to Alex Esselman. She was brought to you by our great friends at Remy Martin, Team Up for Excellence. With all the activations that Remy has, we appreciate what they do for us. Remy Martin's been a long partner of ours here on Raider Nation Radio. And we're just asking you to mix it up. Remy 1738 could be the perfect remedy if you're going to make any type of drink like a Manhattan, an old-fashioned, a sidecar, or an espresso martini. If you want to do that, I think you'll love the Remy Martin 1738, proud partner of the show. I'm going to keep the stream going for a little bit longer because Levi Edwards is supposed to join us here in studio at some point. He's got interviews he's doing too today. And everybody else, Isaiah, who's got us set up here, our whole team, appreciate it. I wasn't planning on doing the show here, but Pete Carroll went a little bit long, which was good, and you'll hear that interview coming up later in the week on the flagship of the Silver and Black. This is Raider Nation Radio.
It's on your
Money menu here.
All right, Clay, we'll wait on Levi. He'll be in studio here, and then we should be done. All right, everybody. I'm just keeping the chat floating out here. Don't know how many people are in there. Almost 500 people. Thank you for all being here. Please subscribe and share.
Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. Get ready to raid the pubs this football season at BT's Gold. BT's Place. Great American Pub. And Sierra.
I got Raider Dave in Denver on hold. No, he's telling me he's out. He's going to tell me when he comes back. I'm good. Yep. Thank you.
Great American Pub and Sierra Gold. JT for the Black Hole. Black does not cost most no players fans. The Black Hole fan store is now open.
I have the tribe. Don't tell me how to book my show. I'll book it the way we want. We have the greatest guest list in Raiders radio because we have the coach, we have players, we have insiders, and we can only fit a certain amount of people on, but you better believe wasted talent is one hell of a guest.
Please remember, JT, Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York style whole wire pepperoni pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check them out online at GrimaldiPizzeria.com. This is JT from the local 872. All right. On time and on a budget. 872.com. Ships, so, and the schedules that are happening here in our valley. I'm proud to be associated with 872. My show. I'm going on a podcast after this show with my buddy Nasty Nestor Aparicio.
Star Flex Reward MasterCard, it does. Earn 1 point for every dollar you spend.
Anybody know who Nasty Nestor is? Bill, good to see you at the crowd feed. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, and it was nice to see you at the game. You know, that means a lot to me seeing you.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the
All right.
23 bays, over 12,000 square feet. Zip Zap is your one-stop shop, offering 24-hour smog test, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine and transmission rebuilding. And Zip Zap provides
Also, I got Mad Dog Sports Radio tonight. We'll have Chris Myers from the NFL on Fox. Our typical guests. We got baseball tonight, college football to get to. A lot of stuff happening.
90 seconds. The Greater David Denver.
Thank you.
Call 1-877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent.
Clay, I'm going to give you a live read here on Fountain Blue.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? I'm on a roll this football season because I don't miss any betting opportunities with my William Hill Nevada mobile sports app. I'll need to bet on the go with my end. If it's your iPhone, iPad person.
Because, dude, I might not have time to do that. That's all, dude. So that's it. You know, I can't put everyone on the show. I got 11 insiders, 19 advertisers, the coach, talk national sports too. There's a lot of good guests I wish I could get on. I can't get them all on.
Congratulations to the Las Vegas, the WNBA championship, making every championship years. The Aces showed true grit and determination in getting the job done this season and have truly established themselves as the premier franchise in the WNBA. So enjoy your off season, and we look forward to next year here at the Las Vegas Sports Network.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
DK motions out to the left. Cam Ward going to throw, trying to set up the screen. There's pressure. He's tipped and sacked. Max Crosby got him from behind. Malcolm Kuntz was right in front of him. There are extra bodies there, too. And a third sack and a half for the Raiders defense, and it's a 3-and-out.
Yeah, Jason Horowitz on the call, the voice of the Raiders. JT, I'm live at Raiders headquarters. Interviewed Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Silver and Black. We're brought to you by Fountain Blue. What a super resort casino. I was there over the weekend. We had a lot of alumni in town. A few of them were staying over at Fountain Blue. I've been recommending to everybody the Hall of Excellence with Jim and Fran Gray's collection of sports memorabilia, along with all of Tom Brady's private collection there, to go to Fountain Blue. We stopped by Mother Wolf, one of the best restaurants I've ever been to. Not in Vegas, I've ever been to. At the bar there, it is mind-blowing what they're doing over there. And there's so many great restaurants, and they have a beautiful nightclub live. The pool is fantastic. My family stayed there before. I enjoyed their sports book. Very comfortable there, and it's easy to walk around. You know, when I tell people to go to Fountain Blue, I just say walk around and do a lap or two and see how beautiful that property is. Easy to get to, easy to park, easy to get a ride share out of, and a great place to stay on the Strip. Always check the prices for rooms there. I think if you stay at the Fountain Blue, once or twice, you'll want to continue to go back there. Theater is fantastic, but we're here to promote the Hall of Excellence, and that is one of the prize collections in all of Vegas when it comes to what they have there. If you love sports, you won't believe the memorabilia at the Hall of Excellence. Fountain Blue, proud partner of our show, and we're very proud to have him. We've been working on that partnership for a while, and I'm proud to call him a proud partner, live from Raiders headquarters today. Raider Dave, one of our favorites in Denver ahead of the Chiefs game. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you. I think the morning show was asking about expectations this morning. I didn't get a chance to call in, but I just have something with that word that, to me, expectations always lead to letdowns. It's always somebody else's expectation that's on you or on me or whatever. But I have to realize that instead of an expectation, I have a responsibility. I have to have goals. I mean, these players are getting paid. They have to have their own expectations on themselves more than Raider Nation can have an expectation on them. And I can hear it in Gino's voice. He's surprised at how this is going. He feels a little bit slighted with some of the decisions he's made, or defenses that are good enough to go ahead and bait him into a throw and be able to make on the ball, whether the wide receiver's coming back to the ball or not in due time to get this. So it is a little bit crazy the way this whole thing has kind of ran its course, and losing with a block kick and all the kind of things that have happened. The game coming up is going to have the toughest matchup in the secondary for the Raiders. And you are right, and can go to your Craig talking about how nobody's, kicking Kelsey at the line of scrimmage. That has to happen. You are so right on that. And I don't know if it's, White or somebody taking a couple steps forward before the snap and trying to time, hitting him at the line of scrimmage before he gets 2 yards to knock him off his rocker once in a while. I don't know what it's going to take, but if this game is going to be run, I agree that it's going to be the running game to get the win, to keep Mahomes off the field. I just don't know if these guys, 4 on the offensive side, are going to be enough to get home before Mahomes is going to find somebody open. I certainly hope that's going to be the way to go. But with the run game, keeping Mahomes off the field, it's got to have some creativity to it. I think I saw Mostert and Gentry line up once each side of the quarterback, which I thought was good. I didn't understand the Kappa throw in the end zone when you're so close that you have, Gentry or your big running backs. But, there hasn't been one double pass behind the line of scrimmage with Mayer or any tight end to get through there. There hasn't been that I've seen, motion with a tight end to go ahead and jump through the 2 gaps to grab a linebacker. While, Gentry might have, that could be the lead block, or there could be somebody else's lead block. But you're going to have to outnumber them at the point of attack in order to give this line some help to blow open holes to make this a 100-yard game. I would love to see that for Gentry, as I'm sure a lot of people would. But let's just hope that these guys feel the responsibility of getting back to where they were, not having a botched snap, and taking, 2 out of 3 in Kansas City the last 3 years.
Thanks, Dave. Always a great call. You mentioned it. What is going to have to take? You can't have a botched snap. Aiden O'Connell could have won that game. That could have been a game that Aiden could have won. And I look at the game that the Raiders did win. And when Aiden did win that game with no completions in the second, third, fourth quarter, Jack Jones, remember Jack Jones and the interception there? It takes a lot. It takes a lot to go out and win a game against Kansas City, because Kansas City has been built to win championships with Andy Reid and Mahomes for years now. I am very concerned with the scheme that we have with Caillou Blue Kelly and whoever is on the other corner, and that's Eric Stokes, who's a good player. He can guard anybody else one-on-one. But why I'm so concerned, and the Kelsey thing, I'm not as concerned as I used to be. I'm not as concerned as I used to be with Kelsey. 5 years ago, Kelsey gave me fits. Remember that game? He had 4 touchdowns with 25 yards receiving. Remember, if anybody wants to put that in our YouTube chat, what was his stat line? He had 4 touchdowns and I think only 25 yards total receiving. So it was all red zone, pitch and catch. That drove me nuts. But the Raiders are going to have to play a zone because the Chief players are too fast. They're fast. Xavier Worthy, Juju, Hollywood Brown. So they're going to be running some guys right down the middle of the field to take Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Palomal somewhere deep into the deep water. And if we're going to play a soft zone over the middle of the field, good luck. Because the only way the Raiders will be able to slow that down is it's going to have to be Max. And where's Malcolm Kuntz been? Malcolm Kuntz in the last game did not have a stat. He didn't have a stat. He didn't have a sack, a forced fumble. He didn't have a tackle. What's going on with him? You got two players that need to play better now, Jakobi Meyers and Malcolm Kuntz. They're two of our best players. What did Jakobi Meyers do in the last game? I don't think he got a lot of opportunity. And what's going on with the situation that we're seeing here with our secondary overall with Isaiah Palomal? Jeremy Chinn's been playing well, but one of those guys, Chris from West Oakland, called in a while ago and said, can anybody catch the ball and intercept the ball? And who's the last guy to intercept the ball around here? Eric Allen? I mean, let's go. Go jump around and make a play. You're an NFL corner, NFL safety. You've got to get your hands on the ball. And for Malcolm Kuntz missed a full season due to injury. Now he's back in a contract year. Would you give him a contract? I don't know. I don't break down film and see what his targets are exactly getting to the quarterback or not. But you don't think John Spytek's watching Malcolm Kuntz and seeing what Jonah Laulu's doing? So everybody's got to play for their job. Everybody's got to play for their legacy. Everybody's got to play for the win. I think they'll be ready to play. All the coaches had them ready to play in Kansas City. This is one game you don't have to worry about the Raiders. I think the Raiders' effort is always good. It's always good effort. But I don't think you have to worry about the Raiders being ready to play Kansas City. Well, they're going to be ready to go because Max is going to lead them out of the locker room. And Pete Carroll, who can go up against any coach in the league. But I think the big takeaway you're going to get when you hear my Pete Carroll interview from today is he doesn't want to make this about him. We went down the road to try to get Pete Carroll to talk about Andy Reid versus Pete Carroll. He wanted nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it out of respect to his players. It's not about him. He's been there, done that. He's won a Super Bowl. It's about having these players prepared and lined up correctly. We told Eric Allen, and we touched on it with Lincoln Kennedy in depth. We were talking about it on Raiders Roundtable, and thank you for watching that show because we get the numbers on that. We appreciate everybody watching Raiders Roundtable. You can find that at Raiders.com. All these great players who played for the Raiders in the past always love going into Kansas City. And the Kansas City players now in the modern era, the Mahomes era, they love coming into Vegas. They own Vegas. They own Vegas. I mean, Travis Kelce the last 5 years has taken over our nightclubs. You don't see a Raider going to a nightclub because a couple of our Raiders don't go to nightclubs, but Travis Kelce comes to town and he goes from Wynn, Encore, right? He goes from every nightclub in town, Omnia. He's got a bottle service table waiting for us and he's celebrating a win. That's got to stop. And they have more bandwagon fans than any team in the history of pro sports. Bandwagon fans. Not fans, bandwagon fans. Because of the evolution of Taylor Swift, and my wife is a Swiftie, my wife loves the music, Taylor Swift has brought in millions of fans to a team that was not going to bring in millions of fans, and they started winning Super Bowls. So you add in their Super Bowl bandwagon fans, then you add in their Swifties, and you got millions upon millions of people dumping revenue into the Hunt family's pockets for T-shirts, jerseys. Do you know how many of these young girls around the world in Germany and Brazil bought Kansas City cheap jerseys because Taylor Swift's dating and now going to marry Travis Kelce? Millions, not thousands. We make millions of dollars off of Legion Stadium, not me. But the Raider organization, because of Beyonce and all the big concerts that come in, Metallica, Billy Joel, there's a revenue stream there in Vegas that we've never had before, which every time I look, Mark's dumping money into the team, trying to get a better player, trying to get a better coach, trying to bring in another investor to do it. But I don't have hate in my blood anymore. I don't hate anything. I despise the Eagles, the Red Sox, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos. A handful of teams I really don't like. But I have a lot of respect for Kansas City because Kansas City finds ways to win. And I never thought that Andy Reid, after they ran him out of Philadelphia, would do this in Kansas City. Never thought he would do this. And he's doing it. And what are you going to do other than respect it, tip your cap, but want to beat him more? You want to beat him more. This whole building is excited to play Kansas City this weekend. And again, when I get more information, I'll share it with you on the viewing party we have here at headquarters at the Intermountain Healthcare Performance Center. I believe it's $5. That's it. It goes to the foundation, and you can come here open to the public and watch the game here from the practice facility. That could be pretty cool. Maybe something great happens and we have a great memory there, and I hope that happens there. There'll be some alumni here, and it should be a lot of fun. And then we're getting the hell out of here for bye week. Believe me, I am gone. I am gone. I am turning it off. I'm going to watch a couple of movies on the plane. I'm going to hang out with my 87 and 85-year-old mom and dad who like to go to happy hour, as they say, happy hour every day. My dad still plays golf, and my son and I are going to play golf. And 3 generations of us are going to spend some time. And I am going to decompress and get ready for the second half of the Raiders season. But how great would it be to go out with a win? I mean, how great would it be to win in Kansas City? We say that every year. I did not think that they were a 12.5-point underdog. We are brought to you by Finley Volvo, dedicated to giving you the freedom to move in a personal, sustainable, and safe way. These vehicles are so safe and documented. I really believe you should go see Mike at the 215 in Rainbow and test drive a Finley Volvo. You can buy a vehicle there. You can lease a vehicle there. They have hybrid vehicles, which are unbelievable. Less gas, more hybrid is the way I go in life. But to sit in these cars are breathtaking. So if you're looking to get out of an Audi, a Mercedes, a BMW, another car that you've liked, I think you should take a look at a Volvo. They're proud partners of our show. Love what Mike's doing over there. And he keeps telling me, JT, send Raider Nation over to Finley Volvo on the 215. I pass it twice a day, 3 days a week. It's a beautiful, beautiful store lot. You'll love it. And I think if you get in one of their cars and test drive it, I've been talking about the stereo system. I was in one. They said, listen to this. I've never heard music that good in my life. I mean, I've never heard a sound system like that. But I think a lot of people care about safety, really do care about keeping your family safe in a vehicle. And that would be Finley Volvo. Go check them out. They have a great inventory. They're looking to make deals. You're looking to make a deal. Just pull over on Russell right there on the 215. And I think when you get off, you'll get off there and you'll say, man, this is really nice. JT, thanks for sending me over there to get out there and have fun. Rainbow and the 215, excuse me, great place and a lot of fun going over there. So check it out and tell me if you go there. I'll let Mike know in advance. 702-365-9200 is the number. Levi Edwards will join us in studio. We'll keep you there for the bricklayers. Please subscribe and jump onto our YouTube channel on X, where I have over 1 million views on Travis Kelce's free release. Man, I'd like to put a video up of us smashing him into the ground and get 2 million views.
Tailgate.
All right, everybody, we're going to roll out of here. We're going to roll out of here after Levi. Let me set this up for Levi because he's going to be there. I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
Across the pond again.
Looks good, right? We'll get Levi in here, see what he has to say.
Freezer Classic Billy Tailgate to Sahara, Las Vegas. Catch every game and put your stomach to the test with the fly cheesesteak fly challenge. Technical $2 classic Billy cheesesteak and all the world famous crab fries in 45 minutes to earn champ status. Plus free parking and ballet make game day a breeze. Experience ESPN's #1 sports bar in North America.
I'm getting a lot of Dodger fans pissed off because I'm talking about their money.
To be honest, the man takes care of himself, you can tell. Clean look, smooth skin, confident smile, fit body. Oh, yeah, we notice. That's why I sent my guy to Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men in Summerlin. They specialize in hair restoration to GLP-1 weight loss, advanced skincare, and neurotoxins. And yeah, men get Botox too. Deep treatments, no clock, just great results that make a real difference. Book now at TMRWformen.com. That's TMRWFORMEN.com.
Hey, Rebels, it's tailgate time. When you're ready for the Rebels, just there for the tailgate vibes. Fuel your crew. Fields of hand batter cooked hard chicken fingers, crispy wrinkled gut brats, fiery Texas toast, and make him every bite came soft. Don't get those jugs so fresh. All right.
Clay, I give you Fountain Blue, and I'm going to give you right here Canes, please. Thanks to Clay Baker for running the show.
It's so wonderful. She had the most potential for some series. But you know, she's an impressive toy. Well, so he is the perfect confidant.
All right, let's get out of here after Levi. Start to pack up a little bit. Thank you, MA. Appreciate it, man. Okay, thanks, Clay. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
That's not nice. It's made in Horning from the one.
JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Casa Verde Lover. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-922-9999.
JT back with you live from Raiders HQ. Hope everybody had a great show today. Great day. My interview with Pete Carroll. You'll hear that later on in the week. And on top of that, want to thank our great friends at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. I went to the UNLV victory over Air Force. They're now 6-0, and I was tailgating with Raising Cane's. So the UNLV Football Foundation had a big turnout, big crowd there tailgating, and they were serving Raising Cane's. My son came. He's a Caniac. So Raising Cane's, proud partner, not only of Max Crosby and the Raiders, my show, the JT the Brick Show on Raider Nation Radio, and of course, UNLV football, which is doing an unbelievable job. Levi Edwards over the phone as there a little bit of traffic here in town. So Levi, a big game with Kansas City as you're prepping for the game and putting together content here. I'm a little bit confused because Geno didn't throw many balls downfield, and I think you got to throw the deep ball to beat Kansas City. How do they get Geno going into Arrowhead?
Against the Titans, and I know that Smith just having passed over 10 career yards against the Tennessee Titans. He was very efficient with the ball. Outside the interception that, could have made a different read on it. However, it kind of messed up because after Cindy ran his route on a play action kind of before, Geno could sell it. The defense kind of already knew it was going to come there. But I would say that the deep secondary is pretty good, and where they lack pass rush. I think that even though they have Chris Jones, if you double him and the other two guys on the line and up those linebackers, I don't think they're going to be able to get there quick enough to really get a good amount of pressure on Geno. So I think if he can get the ball out quick and really kill that middle of the field against the Chiefs, I think that gives them a really good opportunity to win that game.
I would agree with you now because I want to see the deep ball because I know Geno can throw it, and we do have 2 4-3 guys in Trey Tucker who's having a decent season. Dante Thornton didn't play much in the last game, nor Jack Bash. So I don't know what's going to happen with Brock. Today's the off day. We'll find out what happens here. If he doesn't play, he doesn't play. But man, if they're going to win the game, they got to keep Michael Mayer going, right? Michael Mayer is not just there to block. He's not there to just help out on special teams. This guy was a star at Notre Dame, and he was targeted the most of any receiver. I like what he did. I'd like to see more of it.
You know, it's actually really funny. I was just getting lunch with Brian McFadden, who's our big writer for the ESPN, and we were just mentioning him here. And honestly, if it wasn't on this team, Michael Mayer could be not only just a starting tight end for the Raiders, but a starting tight end for a large amount of teams in the NFL right now. I'd say maybe about a fraction or at least half of teams in the NFL right now. He could be a starting tight end, and I think that's how good Michael Mayer is. And we're going to continue to see him really emerge in the role of what he thinks he needs based upon rugby. And obviously that's a huge. I don't want to say the word hassle, but it sucks. I mean, Brock Bowers, as good as he is, you need him to be on the field. But at the same time, I don't really think that the drop off is going to be that tremendous for Michael Mayer, just because I've seen not only from this year's training camp, but also last year what he's capable of doing when he's at his best. And I think that we are starting to see the best of Michael Mayer. So I'm really excited to see him continue to do that. And Smith loves his tight end, and he loves to find him in open space. Throw a deep ball, as we all know. So Michael Mayer continues to do really good things.
Levi Edwards is our guest. So if the Raiders have 2 safeties over the top, Jeremy Chin likes to come into the box. Isaiah Palomal there. Tell me about nickel corner, Caillou Blue Kelly, Porter, who didn't really get any run in the last game, Eric Stokes. I mean, all hands on deck here because they're going to flood. They're going to flood the middle of the field with not only good players, but receivers who are fast. And if you turn your head the wrong way, one of those guys is going to find a seam and be gone. How did the Raiders secondary defend the Chiefs and Mahomes?
Anything behind he must be the whole mission. With any defense that has had to play past Mahomes in the 28, you cannot let anybody get behind you, especially with Xavier Worthy. So the Chiefs, what they did is, okay, Tyreek, you don't want to be here. You want to get paid. You want to go to Miami. We're going to let you go. And then we're going to go get Xavier Worthy who can pretty much do, the same things that you can, the same speed, same type of athleticism, and it's working. So if anything, you can Hollywood Brown on the other side. Hollywood Brown is not a slow guy. For the Raiders, you might need to be a little bit more conservative on defense, probably doing a lot more of the cover 3. Cover 2 that you've seen a lot of so far this season, because you've got to make sure that you can't let any of these guys get behind you. You've got to win in close plays against the Kansas City team that has a revamped offensive line. Patrick Mahomes, who we all know has a cannon, and then you have 2 receivers on both sides that are going to play. And so really Kylie's been left on the island, the last couple of weeks, and I don't really necessarily foresee him being at that flat corner position. It's still going to be Darnay Holmes, but obviously, with Darian Porter, as big as he is and as fast as he is, I think it is something to consider to get him some more reps on the outside and then maybe put Caillou on the inside as well. I think it's definitely something to consider. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Levi Edwards is our guest. And the turnovers, the Raiders won the turnover battle 3-1. There were 2 fumbles that were recovered. The interceptions, Devin White gets an interception, but we've been talking about the corners and the safeties trying to pick a ball off. We saw Jack Jones in Kansas City have a really big game. Marcus Peters a few years ago in this rivalry. Corners need to play. Corners need to be great. In this rivalry, Mike Haynes, Lester Hayes, Skip Thomas, Jack Tatum, George Atkinson laid the wood and knocked people down. Rod Woodson, Eric Allen. There's got to be some play and some contributions in the turnover battle coming from the corners and the safeties here. Hopefully we see that. I want to get your comment on A.J. Cole playing through injury. I know he had a streak alive of playing games, and he kicked really well. I thought it was one of his better games this year. That's going to be a big part of this too. A.J. pinning him back and making Mahomes go 90, 95 yards.
Well, JT, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because I really do believe that AJ Cole was the unsung hero of this game for the Raiders that we just saw. Guy has a great ankle. I was talking to the guys who were in the locker room, and they saw how big his ankle was after that game. It didn't look great, and he still went out to practice, and he kicked on Friday. He had probably one of the better games I've seen him have since he's been a Raider, which is crazy to think about because AJ Cole is an all-pro punter. He's had some really good games as a Raider. But that Devin White strip sack that gets you the ball at the 2-yard line, the score with Michael Mayer, that doesn't happen without AJ Cole pinning them down in the 10-yard line, and then you being in good field position. And the defense was able to really do their thing the whole game because special teams just played phenomenal. They continued to put the defense in an advantageous situation with good field position. They continued to back up Cam Ward to where he was so far back and you couldn't really move the ball. And we just haven't seen that these last couple of weeks, where I feel like the defense the last 3-4 weeks have been put in these awful field positions where they are just straggling along. And so when you really get to see special teams do their thing and AJ Cole do his thing, you see the defense be able to be in the advantageous place and not have to give up too many yards. It is a really good complementary thing to see. And so I don't think AJ Cole is getting talked enough about nearly as much as he could based off of how heroic his performance was with that really bad sprained ankle that he's still dealing with now.
Yeah, last one, Levi. I talked to Pete Carroll since I saw you, and he's not about him and the rivalry and Andy Reid. No interest in talking about that. It's about the team. But he's been in great rivalries with Jim Harbaugh, Stanford, USC, obviously going up against everyone in the NFC, the Niners, the Rams, and all that. It's the first time he comes out of the tunnel wearing the silver and black against Andy Reid at Arrowhead. Even though he downplayed it to me, I think this is a massive moment for him in his legacy of what he's been able to do if he can get a win in this game.
Make way. Sorry. Perform at a high level. As a competitor with Carroll, if you understand me, Carroll, it's point. One of the best, if not the best coach in the NFL right now. And it's really good to get on that grass and be able to compete against someone that you would consider, a colleague, a guy that you consider one of the other better coaches in the league. You want to get that win, and you want to see, okay, even though these players are here on the field, we're also going to compete. We're also going to call plays. We're also going to manage this game. We're going to see